Hello folks, trying something new here. I've gathered some interesting news and info for Honkai, and I want to share it with you folks. Each one might be a little too short for its own video, so I collected a handful to show them all now. Without further ado, here's what's happening in Honkai Star Rail, February edition. This TikTok has been floating around a lot recently. Somebody extracted the ultimate animation for Rappa, but moved the camera to third person. And oh boy, does it look weird. But it kinda makes sense. Lots of other games stretches out limbs and objects to make them more apparent when in first person. Kinda reminds me of how Call of Duty actually has the camera attached to the gun instead of where your head would normally be. And for Rappa to clearly show her handjutsus in first person, while at the same time not showing her arms, Hoyo had to really stretch them far away. Give this a try. If you start doing hand signs in front of you, not only will you see your hands, but you also see your forearms and maybe your elbows. So to only focus on the hands, weird unnatural stuff needed to be done. Enough about Rappa, let's look at another character. Seele really has disappeared into a sea of butterflies.
Disappear among the sea of butterflies.
At launch, she was the first limited character, and her DPS was miles ahead of everybody else for quite a while, being able to attack twice and having a ton of self buffs with high multipliers. She was unstoppable, but where is she now? It's been 22 banners since she last appeared, and each banner lasts about 3 weeks, so the last time Seele had a rerun was back in November of 2023. That's well over 1 year ago, and we don't really see her in events either. And at the same time, her single target damage has been power capped by either faster single target DPS and dedicated AoE DPS that does more single target damage than Seele does, so it's kind of rough out there for Seele fans. It's also been 400 days since we last saw Blade. He was very strong when released, and he's still decent today, but Blade enjoyers have no way of getting him since he hasn't gotten a rerun since January of last year. And now it might be too late, because very soon, there'll be a new masochistic husbando in town that loves taking hits. If you care about meta, then mydei might just power creep Blade. And if you do not care about meta but just care about the characters in husbandos, mydei is a new hottie coming to visit, and he's shirtless. And speaking of lost and forgotten characters, it's been a while since there's a real dot character. Foxboy does not count since he's not really a dot support, he's just an Acheron support. Which means our last true dot character was Black Swan, the best partner for Kafka still, and she was released in February of last year, so it's been over a year and Kafka enjoyers are starving for an upgrade. Kafka's kit is unique since she can detonate dots outside of enemy turns, but that's not gonna do much if we don't have more dots to place on enemies. Now let's shift to more controversial news. Out of all the Hoyo games, Honkai Star Rail definitely has the most power creep, and it's been very apparent recently. Anyone who's tried the recent Memory of Chaos can tell you how bad it is. This cycle's MOC 10 has more health than MOC 12 from several cycles ago. And look at the overall HP of each MOC cycle. We are currently under Strife of Creation, which is the one on the far right. And looking at the graph, it was fine at first without much HP inflation, but over time, the overall HP kept going up as we got stronger characters getting released. And in order to give players a strong incentive to buy these characters, Hoyo have to make the content harder with HP inflation, along with newer bosses that does more damage, either through their unique mechanics or just extra raw damage in general, making some players feel like they need to get these new characters to keep up. But if you do not care about endgame content, then this should not matter too much. I always say do not pull what you cannot afford, and this is just a game. Anyway, that's my little collection of things that happened in Honkai Star Rail February edition. Let me know if you want to see these compilation videos more often in the comments below, and as always, have fun out there, Trailblazer.